Hello everyone. Can you hear me? Sound check, sound check. Yo, working, great, thank you. All right, how's everyone doing it today, this week? Are we all good today? Happy hump day. What kind of day is that? Less mounts and less magic. Beard is looking nice today. Thank you very much. Greetings, traveler. All good. It's bad weather in Stockholm. Yeah, it's been semi-good here as well. What up, Henry? Would there be boats? There will be boats eventually. We don't have a time frame for that big feature though. And it depends a little bit on what the community wants after this roadmap. Great, and love the mounts preview. Looks too good. Thank you, Survival Beard. Awesome to hear that. Eat your veggies. I am trying to eat all around good. 10 years so far, indeed. Hope you're having a great day today. Yes, thank you. It's been pretty good, pretty good. Sound tired today? I'm pretty good. I have eaten a little bit too close to the stream and I ate too much. I'm a bit stuffed. So maybe that's it. I didn't have any time to relax the stomach after the food. New mount mechanic before or after TC update. So as you can see on our updated roadmap, we have a patch around the corner that we are planning to deploy live soon, which includes the new mount stuff and the next batch of magic. And some important preparation for TC, which is the next big thing. Just use mending vapors to heal yourself, Henny. Indeed. I ate some Asian mix something. And I ate too much too late dinner today, so it was too close to my before stream dinner. So I'm a little bit stuffed, but I'm okay. Indeed, we are all very hungry for TC, and we're getting closer and closer. So finally, very soon we will have it. So we are working on armors and bags as well for several animals, as you know. I can't say right now for sure exactly which one is going in this next patch. I think we have at least one armor and we have a few bags at least. So I explained a little bit about a little bit of the rearrangement on a roadmap last stream, where we didn't want to get distracted or anything that could risk stability or polish the focus for TC, which is one of the most anticipated huge feature. So that is also why the reason we decided to remove the board games from that batch and secure TC only, as you can see on the roadmap. But I mean, obviously we still plan to add table games eventually over time. We just want to make sure that we have 100% focus on, as it seems to be one of the most anticipated feature going into the game. So we want to be careful. Will Rising Walkers ever get a button release feature? That is one of those quality of life functions that we are looking to do after Elementalism. We plan to do some updates to some of the current spells and old schools before we proceed to next. Are you saying I can play poker in Mortal 2 while I'm being raided? Yes, you will be able to eventually play blackjack and poker with other players. Yeah, we want to have the features you can sit on tables as well. Tables, I mean shares, right? RP elements, and also adds a little bit to some of the gaming mechanics. Currently in our beta board games, you don't have to sit down. You can just enable the game table from actual table. But yeah, we want to add a little bit to that system. And I think also it's about time we slowly getting into some of those functions, like where you can actually sit on things, right? Will undead animals be rideable like turbirds? Yes. So all animals you can ride as a living pet. You will also be able to ride it as a dead risen pet. Will Elementalism be finished after next patch? So in this next patch that we are getting close to now, the pre-TC patch, we are getting two groups. The aiming control group of spells and the weather control. And I actually plan to show you a little bit of that in today's stream, so you can see what you can expect. I was very impressed of the weather control. It looks really awesome. So that's, you know, getting in place. Right now we are fine-tuning, balancing, and fine-tuning some of the VFX as well in the last days now before we plan to put it live. One of the challenges obviously, you know, the opportunity of when some spells are powerful, useful, effective options. They're quite different, right? Every group in Elementalism. And this one we are deploying now does tie quite a bit with TC. So, you know, powerful spells take quite some time to cast. They cost quite a bit to cast, but they could absolutely have an impact in defensive or offensive sieging. So, yeah, I mean, I know everyone is waiting for this next patch, and of course the big one, TC, right? So we're trying to hurry without stressing or without, you know, sacrificing quality. But we are fully aware of that, you know, that's some of the big things a lot of people are waiting for, and we're getting closer and closer now. Yeah, we'll add some dice games. So there's quite a few different small table games to a little bit more complex. Some in-house invented that Matt's made a long time ago, and also traditional games from, you know, inspired from real games like poker, blackjack, easy games that anyone can, you know, easily get into and play with your in-game currencies. All right, shall we continue with today's stream? Let's see. So let's take a look in game, shall we? I have jumped onto one of our test builds that we're also soon gonna make a public tests accessible from the community. Let's see. One moment, guys. Whoa. Looks to be... Wait, one moment. That's better. All right. Robase, what's up? What's up? Hope you're enjoying your card. Is having issues logging in. No, I was just, you know, pulling up the correct window in OBS. All right, let's see. Test server, I can't believe it. This is a dream, right? It is not a dream. We're gonna continue adding the last groups we have missing after this patch is volume types, wall types, and entities, right? Those are the 3 final groups. What did I miss? Not much, just a little summarize. We are just jumping into the game as well here. This cozy little house here. And I was planning to show you a few things. That is, we're getting close to deploy our so-called preparation TC patch that includes some nice content as well. We're working on additional points of interest, spawn or dynamic systems that will spice things up in the world, give interesting rewards, and like you already know, the mount stuff, bags, some armor, and oh, by the way, do you want to see something cool? Something cool? Do you see this large bag? Look what it says there. Control right click to rename. Holy cow. Holy cow. Regs. Bam. Bam. I know that's something you've been asking for quite a while, right? And finally we're getting some of those goodies as well. So yeah, worth the wait, finally getting some of that love as well. About time, indeed. So now obviously, you know, armors, you know, really good stuff, really good quality of life, right? So now you can easily see what you have in the bags, right, by naming them. So a good quality of life that you have been asking for. A little bit too long, I would say, but better late than never, right? Must have been hard to code. So I mean, there's so many things we want to add as quality of life improvements, right? There are a lot of good ideas. It's just that we have to be realistic. We are working on quite heavily focused feature, function, patches, and there's quite a schedule we have to reach the Epic Game milestone, and you know, TC is the big next one. So we obviously can't do everything at the same time. And we are still only around 40 developers, so a rather small development team for making this large project, as you know. Just a little jab, Henrik. Indeed. I mean, if you stack up 100 small features, it's still, you know, a big project for one coder, right? So we have to be very careful, making sure we have stability, bug fixes, always number one, and of course deliver one hell of a polished patches with features that are working, balanced, and are fun. And you know, TC is the big thing, so we're very careful, like I mentioned before. We don't want to squeeze in too much stuff there. You only have one coder. No. I mean, if one coder is to do, you know, one thing, but you keep adding 50 things on his table, it's obviously a list of prioritized order, right? I'm not sure exactly how many coders we have right now. We have a few coders, and of course quite a few other types of developers, from animating, 2D UI, 3D modeling, obviously, animation, rigging, VFX. There's quite a list to you know, things worked on. What book is that? That is a magical book. All right, so I put together a few spells that I could show you today as well. I also have my new mounts obviously prepared here in the equerry, so we can show some real action on the new mounts. We need more music. We do. All right, so I put together a few spells here. That is coming now. Is it a rat man? No, no. We make turtles mountable for swimming. So all mounts can swim, right? But obviously it makes sense that some of the animals are more efficient in water, right? When TC comes out, will there be improvement in the FPS? We are working on overall optimization every now and then on a constant in the background also, because one of the steps that you're aware of is the Unreal Engine 5 transition, which includes optimization and various improvement for our game as well. All right, let's cast some spells, shall we? Will poker have a certified RNG? It will work exactly as it would at the casinos. Right, let's see. I think I showed you Roaring Wind before already, right? We can always cast it again. I actually seen, so this is one pre-patch build I'm on. The Roaring Wind actually have an update visually that makes it look even better than it does right now. But I can show you the old version at least. So let's see. Let's cast a Roaring Wind here. Chicka boom! Oh, what did I do? Okay, so I think I showed this one before, right? So it's got a little update. You can see it pulls debris from the ground, but it also, the color have been updated a little bit on the next build, so it looks a little bit more appealing, I think. And there's also a refresh update on it that you can see it refresh unsmoothly every now and then, which also is improved. So it's coming along in a nice way. So you just release it in one location, you have a certain range you can release it, and then it does wander on its own. You can't control how to push it. Let me show you which one was this. Gravity Snare. This is a cool new spell. So you can see how it morphs like into a black hole, a gravity pool. And the name kind of speaks for itself, right? It affects people around that sphere. So it can be quite devastating in pulling the players, affecting them with the gravity pull. So it's a pretty cool spell, quite expensive because, you know, you have a quite the impact on a crowd of people as well. Ah, there's no sound. 1 second. Maybe I can do this. Do you hear it now, guys? Yeah, sorry, I think I fix it now. Hopefully. Yep. All right. Let's see, what do we have more? Starfall. It's a pretty cool, very devastating spell as well. But it also has an update. It's going to be a little bit more, the frequency of it is going to be different. But you can get a taste of it. You can get a little taste of it. It's a chicka-boom spell. Boom. Oh my, oh my, oh. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. Quite expensive to cost also. But it's a good artillery, that's for sure. Bam. So, you know, imagine, obviously, as some of these will be quite powerful when it comes to TC and sieging, right? When you know there's a group here pulling a siege machine, for instance, you you know, you can stop the efficiency of that machinery by throwing some of these there. This one is pretty cool. Look at this baby. Look at this baby. So imagine a squad coming here. A chicka boom! It's a chicka boom, you know. It's a good way to dispel a lot of reflections in one go as well. How did you, Henrik, want melee counters for that massive spell? Obviously, some of these are not very effective when it comes to, okay, one guy is coming here, let me cast that Starfall. Obviously not the spell for that, right? So it all depends on the circumstances, and this group is quite more effective when it comes to sieging, right? So some of these may not be the, you know, go-to spells when you're fighting 1 or 2 players here running around, you need to cast them fast, you know, so it's that. I mean, if there's Choke Valley and you see a group, you want to cause some poison gas damage on them all and remove their reflections, this can be quite effective, you know. It spreads, and you see how it goes out now. You can have a good area of impact as well. Let's see, we have the Firestorm also have updates and stats, but I can show you the main visuals and, you know, what you can expect from it. So we got these tornado-like with fire. And of course it's... Holy shit! I got a little bit too close. The stats will also have an update on this version, so... but yeah, I wasn't careful enough here. Undertuned. No, that damage is having an update as well. So don't worry. And like I said, that's also a spell that may not be the practical. If you see one guy coming, you don't just shoot it on him and think that's it. It's not effective on just throw on one player, right? Again, more effective when it comes to not as mobile targets, TC content, right? Let's see. Let's put on this again here. So we got a little... this is also a quite powerful spell. If I see a siege machine coming here around the corner... god damn it, we need some mana. So there's mixed types of damage here, right? A lot of the Elementalism damage have physical damage as well as a baseline, and then additional part of that can be cold damage or heat damage or stuff like that. So a lot of these big things are blunt damage, which means you do resist that damage with armor also, right?
Oh my god, another one. Another one.
Bitchin TV, thank you for the subscription. Will you be adjusting fireball damage mitigation? It does way too much damage. We're not currently tweaking those numbers. We have been collecting a lot of data and a lot of spread data and feedback so far. So, you know, we don't want to rush to changes that doesn't really align with the bigger picture, right? As you can see here, Fireball needs a buff. One is riding already. So, you know, there's obviously a huge mix of what people think on the different spells. And I understand it can be tricky to think that there's more views on spells than your own personal ones. But that's obviously how it is, right? And we try to look at the main picture. If know how frequent are people using the fireballs, how effective are they, what are the feedback we're getting, and are they the super meta in the battlefield currently? No, they're not. There are circumstances when you see fireballs flying and it's super cool and they can be powerful, but they can also obviously be easier avoidable, right? So it's completely different balance compared to ecumenical spells, for instance. Right, let's see. I wanted to cast, yeah, lava flow, right? So a quite slow spell. So if you see this incoming, you may want to move your siege machines, because it puts things on fire. All right, puts things on fire. So that's a pretty cool spell, right? This little old goodie, I think you've seen before, quite similar to in the first game as well. And it has aim control, right? So you shoot this lightning ball and you can control it by looking. Okay, I hit a tree, but I will show once more here. So I release it, and then I can control it by looking. So if I look up, it goes up, left, it goes left. Down, it goes down. It's a pretty cool spell. Pretty cool. And it zaps every second as well if it close, and impact it has a more stronger effect as well. Am I trolling Alzir? How am I trolling? And then we have this little one. This one I've also changed a little bit, but it's a pretty cool spell. So water spires that goes out and then boom to the center. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And has some different effects. Elementalism have any damage mitigation? Yeah, they are physical damage types, so if you have gear, you reduce damage. So as I mentioned, pretty much all Elementalism spells have base damage, physical base damage, which your gear reduces. So being naked, then obviously they do more damage, right? So yeah, obviously you have a few more that I don't want to show at this point. You will find them on your own. But I do want to show you one really nice looking thing. So let's get it cloudy, right? Let's affect the weather here. It's a really cool effect. I really like this one. Time consuming, costs quite a bit. But it's a really cool spell. Yeah! Boom! Look at that, my foe! Chicka boom! Chicka boom! The clouds. We're seeding the clouds, right? We are seeding the clouds. We are seeding the clouds. Look how cool that is. You're seeding the freaking sky. Now we are not Gandalf, but the other one that is controlling the weather. And we are also updating the heat temperatures here. So you can see you are being affected. Let's keep pushing it. Let's condensation. Let's feed it more, guys. You see, I did that, Henrik. Let's go. Let's go. Boom. You see, we're getting more clouds on the sky, right? In this area. We're even covering the sun. How cool is that? How cool is that? I need more mana. They're quite heavy on the mana. Are we getting down? So we have 17 body heats. Let's push it more. I don't recall which spells I put together here. That's stupid. That's pretty awesome. What is stupid? Don't you get it? We're controlling the weather. Because obviously some of those mighty spells from the siege spells are dependent on the weather types, right? So you can't just go there, shoot whatever spell. It needs to have the correct circumstances. But can you see how much clouds we're seeding now in this area? It lasts for a couple of minutes and then it slowly moves towards the default temperature in this location. Those numbers we're also playing around on test to see there should be enough time, right? But not too long time either. I may be casting a little bit less effective, just trying to... Okay, so you see now it's starting to rain, right? We have made it quite moist in this area by seeding the clouds, making it cloudy. Now we get rain, right? So now I can obviously cast some of those spells that are dependent on rain or something like that. And then... moist. Humid. Alright, so now we got clouded area. We got some rain. And of course, if I now make it cold...
Oh my god.
Let's make it cold, guys. Sir, come on, get your shit together. Are you not following our schedule? This is planned for TCE. We need it. It's a school we had in the first game as well. So now we are affecting the clouds to be cold, right? So that means we should see the temperature drop, which we also noticed here, my body temp, right? From 17 to 15. Which means it will be cold enough soon to turn the rain into snow, right? If everything is working as intended. Yeah, I need more mana to effectively control the weather. And yeah, when you do get the buffs that with colder heat or such, there are an impact on your body from small impact to stamina to more and more over time to eventually damaging if it's in extreme areas. 13 degrees. I don't remember what temperature we need for getting the snow. We don't have any blood rain, and that's not this school. Seems like a lot of stuff for absolutely nothing. So the thing is, like I mentioned before, all these spells, the heavy spells, have a requirement in weather states. And that's also an important balance phase. You can't just spam some of those very powerful spells. You need to have the right circumstances as well. Which obviously also gives you as a defender the means to try to change the weather so you can't be affected by some of those spells that, you know, you may be attacked by. So yeah, you see my body temp is going down. So that's you know, that system pretty cool, I think. So you know, we had a clear sunny day a few moments ago, and now we have clouds. We're seeding it and bringing down the temperature. I think we are close to get transforming the rain to snow, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my god, another one. Another one.
Profo, thank you for a subscription. Wow, 21 month. How time flies. Waking up to Elementalism stream is awesome. 21 month is indeed awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right, so that's weather controlled, and obviously you have quite a few different ones that affect humidity, temperatures, wind, up and down in different areas. And you know, again, requirements for some of those powerful spells to keep them balanced and under control. So yeah, it's pretty cool. The spells look busted. I don't know how you evaluate busted spells without having it. So we have the first group of spells in game, and so far the main feedback is that there's quite a few spells that are effective, good and fun, and then some of them are not as effective,
Oh my god,
underperforming pretty much. So you're quite wrong in your statement. It's actually the opposite. So I don't know how you reach that conclusion, but you know, looking in the community and the players that uses them and that feedback and what are useful, that is always a challenge, right? We're very careful making sure there's nothing OP when we add the spells. It's much better to have them underperforming rather than overpowered, as you can understand, and then slowly over time we can tweak those spells to be more effective over time. Fireball is one of the few spells that people think is useful to use, and still quite easy to avoid them, but there's very good use for Fireball. So people absolutely don't think it's busted, biscuit in the oven. It's one of the few that are quite useful, actually. I mean, you can see it in every single battle, YouTube battles, streams, that you can see fireballs being used in right circumstances, right? A few of them. They're not at all as spammed as Thunder Dash or, you know, those types of spells. So busted means it's overpowered. Yeah, I know. And they're not overpowered if we ask the community. That's what I'm trying to explain. Is some of the few spells that are actually used every now and then, but you don't... when something is overpowered, it completely takes over the game, right? And everyone uses that meta. That haven't happened. You see fireballs in the right circumstances, right? But only those circumstances. They're quite slow, you see them a far distance, and you avoid them like this very easily. If you're in a crowded area and you see it coming, then yeah, it can be obviously a good damage, right? We're talking about the top tier guilds in the game, and you even rated those guilds to be top tier. I've seen some of you guys doing your top tier lists. That's where most of the feedback is coming from, and then we're looking at the overall majority. Are they being used? People that enjoy those styles, trying to capture a good picture, not only one person that thinks something personal, right? You know, Nightfall, for instance. Some of those good PvP guilds. Yeah, S-tier guilds and A-tier guilds. Those are quite good at PvP, right? And most people agree that they're good. They're a good group of players. They know how to fight in this game. And obviously they make use of all metas. And Fireball is not the meta to go to in all circumstances. So... Right, so we got into the colder temperatures. As you can see now, we turn rain into snow. Will guild banners ever be a thing? Yes, but not with TC. We will add a few banners that you can pick and choose from, and then eventually we're gonna have the system where you can design your own guild emblems and die system. Need AoE heals to counter AoE damage. We are getting one of those in one of these groups as well. How could not have banner when this drops? I already said that, Fastbite. If you have listened to any of my previous streams, like 5 or 6 back, or even more, we explained very early on, or even months ago, explained very early on that we can't just add crazy amount of complex system because we don't have hundreds of developers, right? And everyone wants TC, and everyone wants TC in a good state, which means we need to make sure and focus on TC and not 100 other things. That's just simply how it works until we can grow as a team, right? So the community then asked, well, can you add a few different banners with different colors so we can use those? Yes, we can do that, and that's what we're doing. But yeah, I know that people are not catching every single stream, but it's something we have stated publicly for many months, everywhere, many times. So trying to make it, known information by many. So obviously we're not only listening on tier S guilds, right? Again, I'm trying to make some sense here. So obviously we have the main responsibility to make sure that we have a growing, healthy player population, and there will always be these elite groups that are so good at PvP and random things, right? And there's always a very small groups that are extra verbal and are on all our communication channels like forums, Discord, and so on, and on streams here. But that doesn't always mean that is 100% accurate. There can be a few people or a few groups that think one way, and then there are some other groups that obviously think something else, right? Just look at when people are grading the tiers, the guilds on these tiers that some people are doing. Everyone is mad at each other because they don't agree, right? And they say, holy shit, you're so clueless. You're placing them S tier when they should be D, and so on. It's quite entertaining, but that shows that people are very different in their view and opinions, right? And the exact same goes when it comes to balance in a game like this. So the game will never be perfectly balanced because it's impossible, because depending on who you ask, it's gonna be a different response every time, right? So again, that responsibility goes on us, right? If we can see that no one is ever using a fireball because it's underperforming, that means it's usually bad. That means we can buff it. If we see everyone is only shooting fireballs, nothing else, that usually tells us it's very powerful, maybe even OP, and everyone is agreeing, yes, it's OP. Then it may be too strong, right? If we see 1 to 2 to 3 fireballs every now and then, like in one big battle, you may see a few of them every now and then, as expected, that means that, they have, there's use for it, but obviously it's not only spell to go to, right? And that's where we want to be. We want to have options for a lot of different players and different circumstances, and, depending on where you are in the game and what you do. And it's easy to forget about this and think, holy shit, this is OP because I think so, my friend says so, and then you're not really looking at the big picture. So it's very important to try to see the whole pictures, right? And not just think what you self think, but actually there's more people around you in this game, right? This is pretty cool, right? Crazy weather. Crazy weather. What is the big picture then? If we see something is being used by players every now and then, we're quite happy, right? If we see it's never being used, that tells us it's underpowered. If we see everyone is using it, everyone complaining on it, it's overpowered. That's the bigger picture. All right? And it's quite easy to see when something is standing out to an extreme, right? Is red with Burma computer? No. We have optimized it quite a lot, so they're not as expensive as it may look actually. So all these guilds running Ogner tower shield stands out then. Yeah, so tower shields are quite popular and powerful. You see a very high ratio on those, that's for sure, right? Holy shit. I think that's something most people can agree on, right? That those stands out quite a bit. But absolutely not for Fireball, that's just foolish to say. Then you are not in many big fights. Look, he's frozen. Became a statue over there. And yeah, obviously we don't have the shield breakers mechanics that we're getting with the melee update after the roadmap. So obviously a lot of this will heavily be affected with that patch, right? Holy shit. I think we're making it hotter now. About just make balance instead of making people wait. So it doesn't really work like that. So we learned a lot in the first game. I'm not sure if you were part of that game, but you know, we had a specific focus balance group and worked on that non-stop. And it kind of gave us the you know, the result of that was back and forth, every single patch, everything dedicated on that, and even the pros, you know, the players that gave the feedback agreed that, yeah, okay, you know, we had to revert this back. It wasn't, you know, it was good for a month and then it changed and back and forth, and you know, people was just sick of it that we spent all the time on balancing and it was just back and forth. Sometime, you know, some stuff got in a really good spot. We were happy with that, but it was way too damaging for overall player base. So we can't rush things. That's the first rule we learned, right? We can't just think that, yeah, because 100 people voted this off, it should be safe. Let's quickly add it, right? So it takes time. Balance is impossible to have perfect, which everyone has to, you know, accept, because it is, because you will never agree with each other's in here, even when it comes to what kind of numbers you want in the game. There's few things everyone can agree on. So obviously that's the first requirement, you know, component, making it impossible to have perfect. And like I said, we can't just rush change balances moving forward and back and forward, because people will get upset, they will get tired of it, and also feel very unsure of having such heavy changes in the balance every month or so. So it's something that takes time, and we need to be careful. We need to make sure that whatever we add and tweak and change to the game needs to be in a good spot, and over time data shows that quite clearly. All right, do you want to see some of the mount action? Let's see what we got here.
Oh my god, another one. Another one.
So which one do you want to see, guys? I mean, data is king, right? If you use it, we see you use it. If someone says they use it, you know, it's still debatable until you see they use it, right? Pig, eh? Pig. Let's pull out the pig. Okay, so we're updating the pet window with some interesting or informative information as well, which you can see here. Now, this window will have an update in the next build, so you can read all this. It says kilograms after this, right? It's gonna be rearranged in a better way. But what this means is my weight and armor weight on my character 88. I think my gear is 1 kilo. Yeah, about 10 kilos. So that puts us to 89, right? And the pig at this level and size can handle optimal up to 43 kilograms. Right? So that means there are some kind of penalty in his capacity of carrying me effectively, right? So you will see that indication here in the window, but arranged so it looks a little bit better. So obviously you can't be a very heavy character on this pig without getting heavier penalties, right? So you see how it works. But and obviously it has its own stamina and usage, but I mean you can crank it up pretty hard. You know? It can run, it can run. It can run. My little piggy. But yeah, you see my stamina is not very effective at this point, so... but it works, it works. Not the best transportation animal though, also since it can't really carry you, but it works. And you can do that on Haven, so a good introduction to the noobs, right? Let's stable my little piggy. And pull out a little Wolfie. So this is a 125, an alpha wolf. And as you can see, it can carry a little bit more, 60 kilograms on this wolf before penalty. So yeah, so pretty decent speed. You can see he's quite agile as well. He's almost sidestepping around targets. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, eh? The drifting, right? It feels pretty good actually. It uses all 4 legs in a very agile way. So that is a wolf. Let's pull out the Thunderbird. Okay, so this is a baby, which means he's a little bit weaker. Well, let's see. So if it's a baby but still has the proper size to be mountable, you can still mount them. It can carry 100, so I'm within a threshold on this character. But also when it goes up in size, it can also carry a little bit more, right? So 125 can carry quite a bit more before it gets affected by the penalty as well. So this is my baby Thunderbird. Quite decent speed on this. 850. Not too bad, not too bad. And then it has a boost into thousands. It's quite good Indeed, when it comes to turn ratio. It has 2 legs, right? So it can have a decent. So the horses is faster, as you noticed when you do the boost, and the horses are still the meta when it comes to effective transportation. And yeah, like I said, some of the penalty are also being tweaked currently in these sessions we are in right now, before they will go live. Yes, you can ride the ritual versions of them also. Now the pet can't attack while you are mounted. We're looking to possibly add some of those functions with in the Beast Mastery for those pets that make sense that they could make an attack in front of you or behind you. Yes, you can ride ritual versions. So we're going through the whole list of all the creatures and making them mountable one at a time, right? And we're starting in this next patch. We're starting with these few ones that I've showed, and then we are continuing over time to add more of those creatures until we have them all covered. So here you can see a wolf rider, small Shivra on a wolf. Quite agile, trying to keep up with that little bastard. Looks cool. All right. Let's see, did I show you? So it's cool when it's alpha as well, when it's older. Let's see, we have the direwolf. Obviously bigger, stronger, tougher than the normal wolf, and it holds 72 kilograms. So I'm a little bit above the threshold to be optimal, but still quite useful if you are close to that penalty. Where did that little Shiva go away? Does the weight mean you can't fully load a horse and ride it anymore without a penalty? So the ride penalty is only your character weight and your armor weight, and then you have the, you know, it's the pack amount is separate, right? You already have its own group for that. You can only pack so much carry limit in bags separate, which also will affect up to that cap. What's the speed on direwolf currently? 710. And with boosts, 795, right? So we haven't set the position for the other animals yet. So Kogra's bears are not done yet. We'll continue this list over time. Now when we have the system and we try to make the extremes and, you know, some of the useful as well, we can more efficiently move over the rest of the creatures. So over time you will see all of them, right? No. So these are the ones, the wolves types. We have the little piggy because we wanted to set that small state that allows us to do many small creatures such as the wolves. cougars are a little bit larger, but they're also using the same. There are different states on a character body how he needs to be mounting the creature for it to work, right? And we have all those states. It's quite quick and efficient to just add the rest of the creatures. So we have the wolf types, we have the little piggy, the terror birds, and the very cool feature. I'm gonna see if we can get a horse to show you that if everyone haven't seen that already. The horsey double mount, finally. One of those highly requests as well. If you have a team and one of the guys loses his horse, there's no horse nearby, you can invite them to ride with you on your horse, which is really cool, and a high quality of life to be able to ride two people on one mount, right? Yeah, you will be able to be two on quite a few creatures. Mulvas, Camperons, maybe even Wisent and some of those shore powers, where there are enough space and they are big and strong enough pretty much. No, the Terrorbird don't have the space for two. Currently you can attack from one horse, but it's quite limited, and you will see what I mean with that, because obviously you hit your rider in front of you extremely easy, and also the one behind you if you swing to the side. Some things works well. Some of the things we're testing heavily right now as well. If something seems to be too critical, we have the option to simply allow only one to be using weapons on the horse in that state. So we will see how it goes. Minotaurs. So that's a good question, right? There's a few creatures where it's it's a little bit tricky to just place them there without some very heavily modification on the mounted states. But it may be doable. We will have to look into that one. I mean, you can mount a player, sit on his shoulder, and it looks, like it would in real life, and it works. Not very effective though, I would say. And that neck on the Minotaur is quite wide. But I think it's worth testing it to see. You plan on making riding animation for each multiple creature, and who needs to go with them like there's on a horse. So obviously there's always room for tweaking and polishing animation, right, into infinity. And yeah, we have a very robust dynamic system now that allows us to mount anything. But of course there are, room for polishing some of the fluid movements, the body movements on the mounts, and also the creature itself, right? I mean, some of the animation, works when you just see it run around in the world, but when you're sitting on it, some of the head movement on it may be a little bit unnatural or such. So there's obviously for sure room for polish when it comes to pure animation on all those states. But we don't want to spend too much time on the polish animation states currently. We want to make sure all the functions and balance works first, and then we can continue polishing some of the animation.
Oh my god, another one. Another one.
Havoc, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it. Pet armor this patch. I think we have one armor. I think we have the Mulva armor. And then I don't recall if we have anything else. And we have a few bag types as well coming along in this patch. Backpack. Will there be a war camperon with armor obviously? Yes, for sure. That's on its way as well. So the carry ability is going to be very important with TC. The heaviest ones are obviously the Mulva and the Camperon carry abilities. So those will have bags to allow you to do some heavy transporting of goods, which will be a key part along with TC. So this patch, again, I want to refrain from setting dates, right? But the plan is to have all balanced and polished and approved next week. And if that goes as planned, we are deploying the patch thereafter it's approved, right? So without saying any dates, we're quite close.
Oh my god, another one. Another one.
Yeah, we actually discussed that. So the camp-on is so large that it actually would fit a little plateau, right? Where kind of like an open wagon where a few people can stand there and follow along when it moves, and you know, you can use that as a war machine. It's also one of the functions we're getting with the TC siege machines, and the very same feature is also one of the requirements for the ship system near, you know, down the road in the future. Deploying the patch being the first playtest, right? No, this next patch is preparation for TC, important component for TC, and all these things that we have showed you now, and a lot of different important fixes. After that's deployed, that's when we are finalizing the dates and the new server setup for the public test sessions, while we continue obviously finalizing the TC, and then we will set that date publicly when everyone, including anyone that even doesn't own a game we're looking at so far, will be invited into the public test sessions of TC, because you know we want a lot of action. We want a lot of tests and stress on those components. So we will announce that date when we are more close to, you know, start that first session. Can play assassin rogue type of character in this game with invisible, backstab, etc. So there are skills coming for assassin and rogue styles. Yes, we have poisoning and specific special attacks, backstabbing, and specific sneaking states that works with PvE. And there are some magical component that also affects how you see other players, and also disguise, mouse over name tags, stuff like that. So obviously all that, you know, offers more of a rogue style type of character style, right? Yes, Ryzen versions of all these that I just showed you will be mountable. Bear armor and mountables, they will come later as well. Like I said, we're going to continue that list, doing one of the full set armor for all types. It's the same type. We will eventually also put those armor types on horses, actually. So yeah, over time in upcoming patches, you will see these contents go in as well. No, they can't attack while you're riding them at this point, but we plan to add that support with the Beast Mastery tab. Some animals have, logical in mind to be able to attack when you're sitting on them, like the Mulva uses its horn. The horse can kick straight back if you give them that command, but it doesn't work fully currently. You expect a new foot soldier armors soon. Mage armor and medium armors could also use variety. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of armors on our list that we want to add over time. And not only armors, but weapon types, right? We only have a fraction. We have 5 types for each, which, in combination, we have quite a few, right? But it's just a fraction of what we have planned for. So we started with a baseline for some light, medium, and heavy. The main weapon groups, 5 heads, 5 handle types of each, and kind of started there, right? But of course, we have a lot more on our lists from quite a few from every clade, inspired from the clade and their nations. And, obviously the more we add, we need to be careful when it comes to balance, right? And, there may be cases that, you can choose more a style and they're more similar eventually, because we can't just obviously make, 100 pieces and they're all always completely different in damage. I mean, we'll have the 3 damage types, right? That we are trying to make use of to make them different and for your styles and needs, right? And then we have a lot of styles incoming as well. So again, it's one of the things we want to be sure of what you would like to see next. So again, after Epic, we want to try to pinpoint. We're gonna offer the groups, right? And then you are the ones that are gonna point on, okay, we want new sets of armor weapon types or completely new weapon groups. We don't have the crossbows, for instance. We don't have throwing weapons. Having throwing weapons for melee footers obviously give you a quick tap into a finishing move on distance or chasing someone down. So obviously it will be more versatility for footies, right? Pure footies that doesn't touch any magic. So obviously you're very keen on hearing from you guys. What do you want to see next? What features and what content for the player styles, right? And if it's a very clear prioritized order of what the community wants, then we want to try to follow that order of the development, right? Dual wielding is one of those options after Epic. So if we see a majority of our player base want dual wielding functions, we're gonna make that happen sooner rather than later. So that will just simply help us prioritize the correct features that most of you guys hopefully want in the game sooner rather than later, because our list of features and content is for many years to come. It's a huge project and we're just scratching the surfaces again. This is the early beginning of Mortal Line 2, right? So with your help, we want to pinpoint really good content and features that most of you guys want to see now rather than later. And then we just continue on that list. What about what the casuals want? So what we're going to do is we're not just going to say, pick this. No, we're going to offer RP elements, PvP elements, PvP elements. And within those groups, you vote, right? So there's always a winner in each category. Do you see what I mean? So the game grows, for the entire player base, not only one of the types in our player base. As you know, Mortal Line 2 is a true sandbox MMO RPG game. So obviously that is still, you know, needs to be fulfilled, right? It's not only Quake Online, it's not only this or that. We want to make sure that we have a steady growing player base, everything from explorers, PvE players to PvP players, and you know, crafters, traders, RP players, just as we have described the game to be, right? But we want to make sure that we pick the correct focus for the PvP players. We want to pick the correct focus for the PvE players, and the correct focus for RP players. So we make sure that the few features and areas we pick, you know, the majority ones in that order, right? Other plans to handle darkness in game and third-party apps, which makes screen brighter. So we already solved that. We have a night system, night vision system that already handle that. So the only way to prevent gamma hacking or brightening up pixels with data in them is to kill the data in the pixels, right? Which means pretty much pitch black. So there's no data to hijack. And we have that system in place. We are refining that with Unreal Engine 5. So out in the world, we don't think it's necessary to have that system where it's pitch black and it's difficult for players, and it can also be annoying when it's too dark and it's hard to see. So people do brighten up their monitor a little bit to bypass that, right? Which means the game looks a little bit crappier. So we decided, you know, we have two bright big moons. We are not on Earth now. Obviously, when it's clouded, you know, we don't pass that much light. But in usual, it emits a lot of light, which means it allows us to add more light in the environment, brighten it up a little bit so it still looks natural and beautiful, but it's not a struggle for you as a player, both new player or veteran, to have it like, it's too dark, it's a little bit annoying, shit I can't see, and you brighten up the screen to see. That's not optimal, right? So we're trying to adjust that along when we're taking the step over to Unreal Engine 5, so the entire world outside gonna look nice, immersive, and fully enjoyable from nighttime to daytime. So you don't feel like, shit, it's nighttime now, I don't like it, I'm not gonna adventure out there now because it's annoying. We don't want that really. But obviously in dungeons, on the ground, that's when it can go into pitch darkness in certain areas, and that's also where we completely kill that hack. You can't gamma hack or tweak the pixels to show you information. And you will rely on distance on the clade night sight, and there will be also additional alchemy and magical component that obviously allows you to see further and better. So that's how we handle that. We are on Unreal Engine 4 now, and we pushed the boundaries pretty much as far as it's possible. And the next step after TC is full commitment to Unreal Engine 5. And plans to hold a sword and a torch to adventure a dungeon. Yeah, so we're looking at, again, different types of light sources and lantern in the belts, stuff like that, to make it more convenient, so you don't just have to be the torch bearer at all time and can't fight. We understand that that's not super exciting, right? What about the auction house? Searching for jewelries is horrible. It feels as bad as searching for tapes in Star Wars Galaxies. That needs a huge quality of life change. I agree. There are absolutely feedback from you guys when it comes to the auction house not being very effective, and some of them, yeah, searching for jewels is not effective. So absolutely, we try to cover some of those quality of life as we go as well. I mean, that's how we did this thing, right? You know, it even supports space. So, you know, we take note, right, when you request those good quality of life updates, and when we see them being very frequent and everyone agrees, then it's a no gamer, right? No brainer. Then we just have to evaluate it. How much development time do we need to add on it? and who can do it, and how do we put that in our overall schedule, right? So yeah, obviously we have a list that we're taking from your request, guys. Yeah, those guild bugs are also on our list to make sure we have those under control as well for TC. There'll be a free look option on foot. We discussed that, and it's also a function you get with VR, right? Which we plan to support sometime after we deploy the Unreal 5 engine updates. So you could look over your shoulder while running forward, and you're getting the same function when you use VR, right? So you can run in one direction and you can move your head to look at your sides or even behind you. So it's coming eventually, right? Colors for bags, we will most likely do with the dye system. Yeah, we know about some of those not as smooth function when it comes to picking something from a bag in a house chest. You need to first pull it out, right? Not really smooth, but it's there for obvious, very obvious reason, restriction wise. And if it was a easy fix, Sebastian would have done it long time ago. He's fully in charge of that whole system. It's quite complicated how everything works, and also for us to secure those systems. We know it's a high request, we want it to happen, but Sebastian needs to spend quite a lot of time to rebuild certain parts of that system, which is not really suitable to spend time on now when we spend all the time on TC, right? But after that schedule has been fulfilled, we can see how we fit some of those updates that improves the quality of life, right? Why not give a preview of items in the bag? What do you mean with that, a preview? Sure, yes, we have gone through the mounts, we have gone through some of the spells that is coming. We showed weather control. We start with a clear blue sky, and then we seeded clouds until it started to rain, and then we turn it cold until it had a heavy snowstorm. And then now we let it go back to its original state. And yeah, so the mounts we will have in this next patch that will be mountable are terrorbirds, ritual versions of them, the wolf types from dire to normal wolves, pigs, the smallest creature we can mount, and that also sets us efficiency for continuing that list over time until we have them all covered. And I couldn't show you because my Shiva disappeared on me here now, but I was gonna show you 2 players on 1 horse as well, which is really, really cool. So you, as a rider, you offer anyone a ride. So you tell the player here when you're on your mount, offer a ride, and if you have done so, he will have the message and can join on the horse, and off you go. Is there a weight limit to 2 players on the house? There's yes, there's a penalty when you have additional characters on your horse, so it's not as effective as you would be alone, right? And there's a calculation on how that adds to the penalty. We have not decided yet if Tupilax and Minotaurs and those very specific creatures should be mountable, if it's practical, if there's space to add the characters on them. If it is, and if it fits, and if it works, then yes, maybe. Great game, by the way. Could we see in the future murderers always being flagged or red forming their gameplay as a bad guys giving game true good response. So yeah, so obviously we have been looking into this heavily, starting from Autumn 1 when we went the route completely cloning Ultima Line, and we got a lot of complaints over time. It's not practical, it should not be like that, no one should know when you murder, etc. And we got that constantly, so we thought, okay, let's try to see if we can upgrade it this time around, and also along with that implement the bounty systems. The bounty system is when you get that intel. This is a murder and I have the rights to kill him without any penalties, and even guards will allow it because you have the rights to kill, right? But then, yeah, we are slowly getting the same type of request, feedback, and complaints that, you know, we should have it more like Ultima Line again. We should have those flags, permanent flags, to show that they have pros and cons for sure, and we can fully understand where everyone is coming from this. I mean, I myself is coming from Ultima Line beta days, right? I played it for 11 years, so obviously I know why we wanted to start out cloning that system pretty much. But yeah, when we did have that system, people weren't fully, look, got a rider. But like I said, so with, you see, I got a offering to mount, right? And then I can jump up, and here we are. How cool is that? With that said, with the flagging system, we are fully aware, and there are maybe room for us to add a specific murder over specific murders. So look, now I can just chill. I'm just chilling, guys, and he's taking us home to our base. How cool is that? How cool is that? So, so yeah, we're looking into a new flag possible to show this is a brutal murderer, and you know it, right? We're looking into it to see if we can make it fit with our updates with the zone rules and the new flags. We're looking into it. Okay, so there he pushed me off, right? And here we are. Pretty cool, right? So that's gonna be a huge chickaboom quality of life. So if we switch spot here, right? I'm mounting my horse, and if this is my friend, he lost his horse. And if you see I have this normal trade option, and I hold control for other options, and I can now offer a ride like this. Bam, and I allowed him to join me. And there we are. My beautiful girlfriend is now following me. How cool is that? How cool is that? Pretty cool, eh? But yeah, we're testing right now the efficiency of fighting, you know, if we need to tweak that or stuff like that. So pretty cool, eh? Why would I want to make it start snowing? If you want to obtain coldness to tap into magic and spells that require snow, you would change the weather, right? So as you can see, she can hit me. Right? Co-op ride chickens is what I need. Chickens? How the hell? Why doesn't the snow stay on the ground? Because we don't have that kind of support system. There's a few systems that we have prepared for and want down the road, such as cutting down trees, they will fall down, snow and water and seasons building up over time, but it requires a lot of time from the developers, not only art but coding. And we said, okay, so what's most important? Long-term goals and game loops such as TC with a lot of deep systems, or do we want snow on the ground now? I think we all vote on TC before snow on ground, right? Am I wrong or right? That's why we don't have it now. We are still a too small team to cover more than a few areas at a time. She can do everything as normal here. Obviously, she will be limited by my view, right? Yeah, as soon as I jump off, I kick off her as well, so I can decide who should be joining me on my horsey travel. So we're testing that now, right? Some things are naturally balanced when we are this crowded on one horse. When we jump up on a mulva, things changes a little bit, right? So we're going through that currently just to see, and if we see that something is standing out, seemingly being too overpowered or something that people will set into a system, we may have to restrict some of those abilities on one mount, right? How much slower is the horse? We are going through those numbers right now also. Depending on our weight and gear, just like you assume, you know, we are hitting 876, and as you can see, yeah, so that's 876 on this one. So there's a penalty for sure. You turn slower and you have a speed penalty when you're 2 on 1 mount. But still quite effective, right? You can pull your friend, or if you're picking someone up because you lost his horse, still very useful, right? UTC ever allows to own NPC towns like back this. So we're looking into offering control over them, but you know, you will only be able to set certain rules and benefit certain things from these nation-built cities. You can't just take over any city in the world and turn off the guards and let, you know, people destroy the NPC nation cities. Taxi from back. Yeah, no duo on a pig. It's too small. There's no space. Yes, the second rider can jump off at any time, as you can see. Or I thought wasn't she running here? Or was she remounting quickly again? But yeah, she can always jump off. And of course, we can all be knocked off with all those mechanics. And I can decide that she shouldn't be allowed anymore. If I dismount, she will dismount. And look, it's pretty cool. We can even trade when we are on mounts. So it's a very cool dynamic system. So if I jump off here, I also push off her. So now she can't mount anymore. Because there became strange situation. In the first iteration, when I jumped off, she was still mounted. And I could call the mount. And she sat there without being in control. But it gave us strange situation when pets is trying to find the owners. You know, there's this teleport function to save your pet from being stuck, and all kind of crazy stuff started to happen, and we didn't want to risk that, so we eliminated that. But pretty cool, right? If you put the people on them, and then you know, have them moving. But like I said, there was a little black hole of fear of strange situation. So to secure that, we push them off, and then we have solved the whole thing. But it's still obviously, you have good control, right? And it makes sense. Currently, she can do everything like I can, but that's what we're going through on testing rounds now to see if there's anything. Obviously, we can see that people set in motion that they have a focused healer in the back. And, you know, we don't want to promote gameplay where they set up macros and stuff just to have their passive healer behind non-stop while doing your normal things. Not really the direction we want to go, right? Obviously, we want to promote team play in a fun, cool way. But we need to be careful here, right? As you can imagine. So, I mean, obviously, if you're two players playing on one horse, you're slowed down, you're not as effective, and obviously if they kill the horse or dismount both of you, you fall off on your back, then you're all both in the same basket, right? Rather than having separated two mounts. So it comes at pros and cons, and we're going through those scenarios currently. Is changing the weather in town a criminal offense? So currently, as long as you don't go into extreme weathers, so you won't be negatively affected, you won't take damage, right? Then, you know, you're fine. But as long as you affect something that can hurt someone else, that's when you also are bound to be criminal. Does turning on a mount interrupt spells if you're passengers? Yeah. Currently, it works just as you would expect being 2, right? So I can't move while casting. So obviously you have to synchronize that as well. So we're going through all those cases currently to make sure that balance is as good as possible. Capacitor use a longbow. No longbows on any mount horse. Only the shorter ones are for mounts. Need bear armor. We are making the bear armor sets that will come for all creatures. Will you be able to steal horses when you kill the owner at any point? We have discussed that a little bit over the year with the community, and there may be room for it with the right circumstances and options where that could happen. But I'm not sure when we would approach it. Why not make saddles needed for 2 persons mounts? No. So again, we don't want to triple up scaling that makes it unpractical for us to use a dynamic system, right? So instead we're trying to make design that makes, you know, it looks like, yeah, well, you could sit on that and it makes sense. It looks nice. That's where we're going with it instead. So we can add a lot of cool content from one feature because it's dynamic, robust, and is built for supporting it. If we go into very specific cases with saddles, 2 positions, it looks like this and that, and we add more and more rules, all of a sudden we either need to work much more to deliver 1 new mount or 1 new armor type or anything like that. And we need to be very clever and careful there, so we make sure that the dynamic system we built are robust and can scale efficiently rather than the opposite. So yeah. Turbars, wolf, pigs, or mulva armor bags this patch. Yeah, so I just showed you what new mountable creatures we are having in this patch, including fixes, quality of life, spells. So yeah, Turbars, the wolf types, pigs, 2 players on 1 horse, as you can see here. The spells, and like I said, fixes and important parts for TC. The game is really starting to shape up. The quality of life bag naming is a biggie. It is. And like I said, so I don't know how many times I've heard that request on my streams over the year. So when the opportunity arises, so the more things we build in the game, sometimes it opens up for other areas as well to make them more convenient to deliver. We always try to be as effective as possible, right? And yeah, finally we are getting to some of those long-waited functions. All right, it's almost 2 hours, guys, so I'm actually gonna, it's good you remind me, guys, of the giveaway stuff so I don't sit here and delay everything. One moment, I'm gonna start indeed the giveaway. All right, it started, guys. So if you type exclamation mark MO2, you are eligible for the giveaway. And holy shit, I need to order new keys, guys, from Steam because we are running out of them. I think I have 3 left only, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, only 3 left, guys. And Steam produces them, so needs to go through them. So yeah, a lot of good quality of life, nice functions, good important fixes, and more mounts. I mean, it's helping the quality of life, right? When you have a few more options of finding mounts in the world. And of course, the double mount is going to be very fun and convenient. You know, if you have a friend or a new player or someone lost their mount, just so convenient to say, mount up and let's go. Right? I mean, now if you are 10 people riding out and somehow always some crazy man running out over a hill, breaking the knees caps of the horse and he dies, and then, you know, you're cursing, you have to find a new horse. Now you can just pick him up, right, and continue the journey. Or if you jump off to have a fight, you lost half of the horses, you can still proceed, right? Because you have the double mount option. So I think that would be a nice improvement overall. And if someone lost, just pick him up and off you go. Nice encounter between the players, right? Husbandry. Can you double mount on a pig? No. There will only be a few creatures that can be 2 players on a mount, such as the big ones, right? Shore prowers, horses, mulvas, camperons, and maybe some of those Wyson types in that size, right? Since we can kill people and take their stuff, is this game to be considered hardcore? If yes, why do we cater to softcore crybabies who cry about their feelings, get hurt when people say mean things to them? So it is indeed a full PvP, full loot game, which most players are aware of. You know, not everyone, but they get to aware and learn that quite quickly, right? And that is also why they have to adapt that. You don't grind for your weapons and armors for endgame bosses, and when you find them, you are so much stronger than the enemies. You know, like in World of Warcraft. You craft it, you buy it, and you're done, you know, and you go at it, the action, and that's what most people adapt to and learn quickly. But when it comes to saying... when you say mean things, I mean, that's also one of those. So it is a game for adults, right? We have rules that, you know, you cannot go and harass people and make threats or being, you know, racist stuff, crazy, stupid things, right? Obviously, we have those rules to follow so people can enjoy the game. But that's very different from, you know, you bastard, you stole my things, or oh, I'm gonna try to get your stuff, and you asshole, you know, normal gameplay cursing and being upset and flaming each other's, you know, that's fine, right? You know, that happens in all games, right? And I think most people can understand where those lines goes, right? If you keep harassing and moving, you know, towards someone and just scream foul things, and that's all you do, then obviously you're gonna lose your VoIP access, because, you know, people around them gonna wonder what the hell is going on. It just, you know, it's not like normal flame or curse against your enemies. So, and of course that line can be stretched, right? And our staff members have to try to make the right calls and make sure that our rules are being followed and people can enjoy the game. And of course they have the functions to mute people if they think someone sounds annoying, but they're still within the rules. So, you know, we just simply try to make the game as enjoyable as possible for all play styles. You know, there is room for all styles. You know, you can be a crazy maniac that wanna kill and loot and do whatever, and then there are those that wanna RP and feel immersed. They can obviously mute each other so they don't have to listen to each other if they absolutely don't want to. All we need is people should follow the general rules, and I mean, there's not that many that can get you banned on VoIP, for instance. You know, you just have to use common sense and follow the rules. The same goes when it comes to cheating, right? So, I mean, yeah, as long as that's being followed, you shouldn't worry, right? It's that simple, even though, like I said, you know, crazy maniac. But yeah, of course, you know, it's show name bags. Yeah, you just simply control right click and you can write BAM. Abandon the shit. Come on, Grimday. Are you one of the trolls now that are so cool trolls that you have to say that sentence? Just look at our reports. I mean, it's a little bit a slap in the face. So, as I said before, we take cheaters extremely serious, and we spend so much time and effort and energy into expanding our system security and ban assholes that don't belong in the game. So yes, son of my bitches goes. And yes, we have been dealing with stream snipers as well. As stated before, we try to expand staff members, our policies and rules to protect the game as much as we can and make sure everyone is following the same rules, right? And just as any other game and just as Twitch TV, we don't allow stream sniping. The problem is when there's one world with a few hotspots, a few dungeons, you know, it's bound to be a very challenging thing, very natural. I think everyone understands why, right? And we can't just take one petition, stream snipe, okay, ban. You know, it takes time from our staff members, and our staff members are busy in the game helping players with many different things, right? So it's not just something that magically solves itself with a report. Unfortunately, it takes time, it requires investigation before they can make the right calls. But yes, we have since quite a while ago, when we have seen it happen, we can see pattern, we have proof and say, okay, this is out of control and it's bad for the game, it's bad for streamers, and it's bad for everyone looking that want the game to thrive. And that's when we have decided, okay, let's try to implement rules for staff members and try to evolve those rules and the tools to be as effective as possible to stop the apparent cheating in that area. And we have done so, and we have made some cases and done what we can. But like I said, you know, it's one of those things that also needs to be expanded so we have high efficiency and control over it. And it's just something that doesn't, you know, happens like that, right? But absolutely, we take those petitions, we do investigation, and we try to gather the information needed to take the right action. You know, because again, we all want the game to grow, obviously, you know, playing the game, enjoying the game, and any marketing awareness helps the game grow in many cases. And we want to try to promote streamers back, content creators back, because they promote us. And we try to do what's, you know, best for the game and our players and gamers. But like I said, with that said, there are so many cases where, you know, you are at a dungeon and we know there's a group that constantly goes to that dungeon no matter what, if you're streaming or not, and someone claimed us obvious stream snipe, and there's no evidence of that is a stream snipe. We have seen a group of players going to a dungeon they regularly go to, similar time frames. Obviously we can't just start banning that group, right? So like I said, it is a challenge, and it's not only us. I mean, the whole world's online games have stream sniping, right? It's sad, it's bad, and those developers and companies also do what they can to help to try to prevent that kind of, you know, abuse, right? But you unban a bunch of cheaters in the past few days. So first of all, I don't know exactly who you're referring to. I never ban or I'm not working with that at all, right? But as we have stated, we have several types of rules. If you break rules, depending on what it is, you may get a warning, you may get a temporary ban, and it may lead to permanent bans. Depending on that, and if you have got a ban, but depending on these scenarios, you may be able to get back within a few days. And that means you have now gathered this information, a warning, a log on your account, and this is your status. And if something else happens, that can lead to, you know, further or permanent bans. So if someone is unbanned, it is because of these rules that are stated. They have done something and they have kind of, you know, got the tickets, and it's up to them if they want to learn from that mistake and continue to play the game, or if they want to continue breaking rules, which will obviously lead to the next step, right? And like we said many times before, if anyone think there's any wrongdoings or you've been unjust handled, we have multiple ways of contacting us to make sure that our staff members, there are different teams that go through to see, is there a mistake, is there, you know, a wrong call or whatever that may be, and then they investigate to help further. So you can do that by either contacting our GMs directly, obviously in game, but also on Discord. And then we have our own website, the support section, where you can make a ticket that goes to other types of staff members that help with support. And there are separate teams that just make sure that everyone handles the cases correctly. 3 days to response. I find it's a little bit unbelievable. Every single time I've heard a complaint that, oh, I never got response. I've seen a copy of that and there's been a response, but very, very, very often the response haven't been to the satisfaction of the player or customer. And that means we can't just copy paste the same response over and over and over again and, you know, make that a difference. No, I'm not saying this is the case for you. Of course, there could be cases where there's been mistake done by our staff members, and we are extremely keen on improving that and finding those issues to improve and set system in place to make sure it doesn't happen, right? We have a very high goal for the Epic Game release. We have a whole upgraded backend system with a review system, so you as customers will be able to rate your experience, and everything is logged, and we're going to have reports, automated reports, so we're going to be able to see exactly everything, how we handle the cases, how you handle the cases, and a full great support that we can see this is working really good and this may be lacking and this is something we need to improve, and see how everything works. I think it's vital we get that kind of robust system in place along for the Epic Game release to make sure that we can see everything and we can see how, you know, we handle every single case and a very clear communication system. So I hope that will also show you guys that our support and whole experience with us and our staff will be, you know, as professional as possible. I heard that you want to make combat more fluent. How will you do that? Okay, so there's a few things, right? Obviously, when it comes to equipping something, changing gear, that's a little bit clunky. I want that to be a little bit more snapper, faster, and fluid. And also to show, for instance, that, you know, if you're equipping this sword now with Control 4, it should be highlighted or something, so I can see I have this highlighted, and when I quickly change to another set, you see those are highlighted, and that's what you're equipping, right? So that's one thing I want to improve. The other thing that we had early on in Combat Beta, that we had a little bit of a mixed reaction back then, but it seems like that feedback reaction have been slowly changed over time. And that is when you can queue up your strikes. And what I mean with that is that in the end of your first swing, you can already start another action, whoever you want, and we instantly start doing that attack. So it feels very responsive, very fluid. You can do nice combos and it just feels great. Because if you do those combos now, you can, if you click too fast or something, it just, nothing happens. You have to do it again and it feels a little bit clunky, right? We may want to evaluate that system again because it makes the feeling of it much better. And I think all new players will greatly feel that fluid improvement because I see it every day and it hurts my stomach when they click again. Nothing happened. Okay, now it happened. And I'm thinking every time I see that if we had a queue system, smooth system, that wouldn't happen, and I think that could help the play experience. So, I mean, many of you guys are here that have been here for a long time. You have mastered how the system works, right? You know how to fight. But if you remember when you were new, I bet many of you guys thought it feels a little bit clunky, a little bit slow, and then you master it, and then no, it's you know it's not that slow anymore. It's, you know, it has depth, and you have to learn a lot of things, right? So it could be that helping all new player experience, because there may be a new player that's it feels too bad to me. I'm used to, I don't know, chivalry or something that feels a little bit different, and they give up already there too early because of that. That would be sad, right? So everything we can do to help the feeling of the combat, I think, is great for us, all of us, right? So yeah, we will look into that then. I mean, if everyone isn't screaming no to it, you know, there's a good opportunity that we want to bring that back on maybe somewhere on the public test. And if we all think that, yeah, this helps, it improves the feeling of it, then, you know, we can keep it, right? That sounds very nice and would be a great improvement. Thanks for your answers. Great game. Started 3 weeks ago and already above 100 hours in it. That's awesome to hear, dear Baum Original. Awesome to hear. Will GMs answer you if what you reported was dealt with, or will I never get an answer? So we have a procedure, right, where we always try to make sure that there's, you know, a response, a confirmation, and that there may be action taken, right? Because we know that when someone reported something and you don't hear back, you don't know, right? Even though there may be action taken or whatever happened. So that's also something we want to improve on. And like I mentioned before, the backend system we're looking to upgrade. We'll have a much better system of how everything is logged and communication is passed between customer and GMs and staff, and how everything is logged. We can see there's an issue in how we communicate, right? We have whispered to each others, and if the chat spams, you may miss it. Obviously, that's a not very good way of communication with important, staff communication. So we are looking to expand on that system. So there's a separate communication pool, so you and support agent can see what you're talking about, and you have the case, and then it can be closed. So everything is very clear that way. So we have a full system update on the back end when it comes to that system. And I think that will help greatly to make it very clear for the players, and obviously very helpful for the staff members as well to see what's going on, how do we pass the information, and so on. Oh, all right, it's time for the giveaway, guys. We are over 2 hours. Thank you for reminding me. I try to run them these streams now for 2 hours and not much longer than that. Make them effective and interesting, and so we don't also loop with question eventually over time. So yeah, 1 minute to sign up if you just tune in, and then I'm rolling the giveaway. What does this exclamation mark Emmet do? It puts you in a list where you can win a copy of the game. So if you're interested, type exclamation mark Emmet2 and you're eligible for a giveaway of a copy of the game. Dombrero, thank you very much for the subscription. I think your ticket will disappear if you log out as well, but I'm not turning on that. Yeah, like I said, there are some issues with our support system in-game, which isn't up to par where we need it to be. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're doing an overhaul with... I'm actually expanding. We have contact with additional coders that are really good in this area, that are not, specifically game developers, but, back-end developers that seems to be very suitable for helping us with expanding this system in a very good way. So we're looking into that right now as we speak, because my goal is to have that system fully fleshed out for the Epic game release. So we know that we have really robust, effective support and communication in the game, and we can see everything. Everything is logged in a good way, and you should even be able to, rate your experience with us, because my goal is to give the absolute best in-game service experience ever in a sandbox MMO. And I feel for our GMs, because they work very hard to try to make it as good as possible with what they have, and what they have is lacking. So we're gonna expand on that and make it better and easier and effective for our staff members. And in return, that should also show for you guys that now you can also have a much better experience when it comes to any support interaction in game. Exploiters should be welcome back. No, I agree. I mean, the thing is that there are many cases of situation in our game where a player did something and then, well, I didn't know that was a bug. Should he be permanently banned for that, or how do we handle it? This is one of the absolute biggest challenge for such complex sandbox game like Mortal Online, and it was the same thing in Mortal 1. You can play this game in so many ways. It's very dynamic, it's very open, it's not linear, it's not scripted in a way where you can't do various things, right? And the more things we add, the more features, the more complex it is. So, and obviously we can't just punish a player. Well, he just started and he picked this up and then he did this and that, and then bam, banned, and you have no clue even what happened. That would be very disastrous for the game and our reputation as well, right? So obviously we need to be very careful in how is this interpreted, what happened, how do we handle it, if we need to patch very quickly, or if we need to state the rule, and if that's stated, how do we make sure that everyone knows it? There are a lot of challenges, right? So we obviously need to just keep on working on this, expand on it, and make it as good as possible. And this is also why we work on the backend system, as I just mentioned. We need to have powerful tools and information to be able to inform people very efficiently and make sure, what have I done wrong? Okay, I broke a rule, I misbehaved in VoIP, or I was on the edge of harassing in a way where, you know, you need to stop now or it leads to more consequences, whatever it may be. All right, giveaway, guys. Here goes. Sorry, let's see. Where do we have it?
Oh my god, another one.
I need to go back here. I couldn't find, that's why. Okay, so all right. Good luck, everyone. Here goes this week's giveaway. Let's go. How the hell do I pronounce that? Troy, Chu. Nice music, indeed. That's our mortal music, actually. Chu, let's see. Are you here? Chu. True, are you here? Rigged. So true, Henrik, so true. Let's see if he's here or not. Let's give him a minute. Needs to be here and responsive within a minute. If not, I have to quickly re-roll. He's not here. Let's give him a little moment to respond. Not in the chat with that name. I found him. I send him a message right now. Chu. That music was epic. Maybe he's not here, guys. This shows is truly rigged. What do you mean? I mean, we have a meme saying every time we give out the key, it's rigged. That's a meme. That doesn't mean it's rigged. I mean, how would we rig it? Troy. All right, 10 seconds and then I'm re-rolling it instantly. I have not yet got a response from Troy. The rigged is rigged. Riggedy. It's not rigged, it's true. True. Alright, it doesn't look like he is present, guys. So I guess it's time for a re-roll. I haven't missed him in the chat either, right? Have anyone seen him right? But remove everyone who enters twice. You can only enter once. So if you type it twice, nothing happens. Okay. He's here. What? I just responded, guys. Sorry, guys, for your excitement, but he's here now. He just responded. In exactly time. Yep, I got him. All right, let me grab the key for you. True. There's your key, Troy. Congratulations again. And my usual question, how new are you to Mortal 9? Are you new or a veteran? You got my hopes up. You should do another roll. I only have 2 keys left, and we need to order new ones. So I need to prepare that. My question was, will new mounts get bags and armor this patch? There will be a few bags, and there will be, I think, at least 1 armor along with those mounts. And the rise inversions also, and the double mounts function, yes. Did I win? No. Hi Henrik, thanks for a great game. Any information about ritual table furniture? No update, sadly, still. I know there's a lot of you guys, ritual guys obviously, that wants the permanent table for your homes. I have no update yet. Hopefully I will have an update on it soon enough, so we can finally get that one as well into the game. It became more complicated than we initially anticipated for the house placements because of very specific rules. So it's not a quick fix as you could have understand by now, but obviously we need to deliver that one for sure. Will there be plans for way more customization variation amongst players, housing, guilds, housing, even just styles would be nice. Seeing the same type over and over isn't that pleasant. Plans for player housing, guild housing. So yeah, obviously we only have 1 style version currently, which is the more, I would say, general Mirland style house, and we have the same type of style for all the TC buildings. Over time we plan to add clade inspired versions that allows you to build other types of houses, obviously with these styles. We also have some preparation where the exterior materials can accept different types of materials, or even adapt to the biome's environment, like if it's sandy or moist, humid, you know, plants, stuff like that, or snowy areas. So eventually over time we plan to obviously deploy all of that. So you will see more variation on the houses we have. Moist. So yeah, over time. I can't say when we plan to do that. Again, you have the possibility to determine the prioritized order of these things when we open up that channel in the community after, or we're getting close to fully delivering the last pieces on this roadmap. So if that's something everyone is signing off to, we will get it sooner rather than later, right? So you will be in direct charge of deciding what areas we should be focusing on the upcoming months after the Epic Game delivery. I want to raise in Dragon Mount already. Any plans to add storage capacity to houses? So we're adding storages, right? We're adding banks, so you can construct those if you want. Yeah, like I said, we are going back to tweak some of the spells for necromancy and spiritism after elementalism is fully delivered, which most likely will also affect our search from horse possible, and you know, the race walkers without having to control them afterwards, you know, clunky functions, adding annoyances, maybe the release function, right, if you lose track of it. There are some good requests from you guys and some obvious parts we want to add to make them more enjoyable before we move on the next Magic School. Melee combat schools moves, please. So that is one of the options you're going to have. special moves for footies melee. And I think, I'm just guessing now, that it will be a highly voted function. So if that's true, then obviously that's one of the features you will see next. It will be one of the ones that affect PvP and character options, the special moves. Is what your guess, Henrik? Is that your guess, Henrik? Mad Kings, that is what I'm guessing, yes. Do you think I'm wrong, Mad King? Do you think I'm wrong? When pulse going up after this release. I'm not sure exactly when we pull them up, when we have a little bit room to finalize them and put them together. Obviously, we don't want to put them now too early when the main focus is TC still, right? That's where everyone's focus should be. And then sometime after, we will see it. So instead of answering the question, you would just censor it. What? What question? I read all questions and I answer all of them. If it's not something stupid, obviously, right? Later, Andy. So what? GG. Is fixing bugs gonna be an option to vote on? No, because we already have that as a main part for Epic Game Focus, and you're also gonna see quite a bit of that for TC. So that's already one of our main parts we absolutely need to cover before Epic Game release is ready. Make all the changes you want and keep making a great game. I like all the things you have done and the things you plan to do. Thank you, Havoc. Thank you. Will there be some draws for people who have been in the game since launch, so to somewhat thank them for their time playing? So obviously we need to think what that could be, right? Obviously we are very grateful for everyone joining in early on and that are here today as well. But yeah, obviously we would have to think what that could be, right? DLSS 3 soon, please. Yes. The multiple character on one account question that is also on every stream and it's still the same response today as in every single other previous stream. We have not fully decided. We need some time after Epic Game to go through the Diva system that touches this topic, right? So we need to go through that, what it means, what it entails, how it affects all the new system we built with one character system in mind, the whole the skill system and all of that, the reputation system. So it's not just a quick thing we throw in from the hip. It needs proper evaluation and investments before we can commit to something like that. So that's still the same position today. You seem like an incredible chill and well-adjusted person. Can't believe they ban you from VoIP. It is PC culture gone mad, I say. Ah, you're typing to someone else. I mean, you really need to break the rules to be VoIP banned, right? So it's not that easy. You know, you really need to go deep into shit. How long did it take you to grow the magnificent beard? I think it takes about 2 months maybe. I'm not sure exactly. It was a long time ago I shaved it off, but it grows very quickly. Any video showcase when? I've been playing the whole day, you know. I've been here playing, showing some of the stuff that is coming in the next patch. And I just got logged out of not being active. What do you estimate the population to be when sub is added? So I don't think
Oh my god, another
the focus
one.
for is not
Another one.
sub when population when sub is added. Obviously, the goal for us is to have a healthy, ever-growing player population base, and for us to be able to start any subscription, first of all, I think we all agree on that. We need to meet a certain requirement that we have set up for, and that goal is for the Epic Game release patch, Unreal 5. And we have worked heavily on the new player experience to make sure that new players much easier and a more smooth way get into the game, have proper protection in areas of the game before they can leave into risk reward areas and you know, adventure wherever they want in the world. We have plans to improve Haven experience, eventually make that free to play. So that's a good transition from players that are unsure, they don't know what they are getting into, and they can get a better view on the game in a more fleshed out Haven experience before they may commit. And like we said many times, the subscription-based model for this game is so important for the future of the quality of a sandbox game. If we throw in and changes the paying model to be like one of those grindy, farmy, pay-to-win, bad experience game, in my personal opinion, I think it's sad days for a true sandbox MMORPG game on the market that benefits the real players the absolutely most. We are not here to sell out on the game to give players, fool the players to feeling that they have to pay money constantly to access the game or look cool or, pay to win or stuff like that, because that's part of our deep rewardness in our game. You can look unique and cool in our game by finding recipes, offering those hairstyles, bear styles. You can meet a dragon over time that scars you for life, that give you one in a life, one of a kind visuals, and you will be unique and known for that. We don't want all that to be bought for $5 and everyone running around in rainbow Uzis eventually, because over time you have done everything and you have to keep pushing it into the game to make money. We don't want to sacrifice the quality and experience of the game and sacrifice your experience in the game for something as stupid to charge you those kind of amounts, rather than having a proper, adult, respectful model that protects the game and you guys as the best possible gaming experience. And if we look today, I don't know about you guys, but me and my friends, most people I know have 5, 6, 7 services running, in the same type of business model, Spotify, Netflix, Prime, HBO, the list goes on, right? And it's a similar price range, similar service. You pay for something, everyone pay the same, and then you have 100% experience, period. That is our dream and vision, that we have enough players that share that gaming experience in a game like this, rather than having those other models that will change the game experience quite a bit. And since we have got a lot of hard support to build that type of game and stay true to that, that is obviously our goals, right? So we're following that path. And yeah, it will flesh out bad quality gamers from our game. We will have much better quality people and gamers in the game, and less crap trying out, that's for sure. Because we noticed that extremely hard in the first game. We used the first model first, and then since everyone went over to free-to-play models, we tried that model as well, and holy shit, the quality changed heavily, day and night. So we are very much looking forward to have that flushed out, not having that the player crap. No, I don't want you to misunderstand me. What I'm talking about obviously is cheaters, right? Cheaters and people that want to break the game, ruin it for others, and are trying to find stuff to abuse and make a living on, or only harass others and attack others. That's what I mean with crap, right? And a lot of those people, they're not really hungry to pay a monthly service to be able to do that, so they get flushed out. Do you see what I mean? Does it make sense? I'm not talking about you, the gamers that are mostly in here talking to me, because you're nice. Most of you are really nice and adults, and I enjoy being here with you. I want to make that very clear, right? Yeah, I mean, every online game have crap players in them, right? And they're there for just have fun to sabotage for everyone else and do crappy shit. And obviously we have that also in our game. And if you have to pay a monthly subscription, most of those people don't want to do it anymore, so they disappear, and we win when that happens. That's what I mean, right? So yeah, with that said, no, we can all just speculate what it means, how many players are supporting us, and how many would support subscription-based models. And we only need a small portion of support from subscriptions and some copies sold each day to be able to cover all our expenses, and hopefully very quickly, with that turnover, we don't need many more to also be able to expand the team additionally to work on more things simultaneously. So that is always our goal, right? And we can only speculate what that would mean. We have looked at other games that are in a similar situation like us, from released a little bit immature, have problems at launch, fix those issues, delivered, and get back on track and deliver good content that the players want. And that's hence the player interaction. We want to open up the pools and votes, so you are deciding what we should focus on, so we do deliver right content everyone wants. And when other titles are re-released on additional platforms and starting marketing, we have seen huge growth in those cases that we've analyzed that have made a very similar journey that we are doing. And if we just goes close to those journeys, we are very excited for the future, and I think there's many years to come of joy. I mean, we're running Motley 1 for over 10 years. It was a big challenge, but we were one of the few that managed to survive and run a MMORPG for over 10 years. This time, Motley 2 is 100 times better. It has so much larger interest from new players and old players, and a much more accepted desire to play the game. So we see a huge difference when it comes to popularity. And if we start the marketing again, which we stopped in the stress test phase, it's a very exciting future for the game. So yeah, we will see, right? The future will show. And starting with TC, it's going to be one big step forward, because we know there's a lot of people waiting for that, a lot of people coming back for that, and obviously there are going to be infinite endgame conflicts within guilds and cities. And as I said, we'll learn also from the first game where TC was good and where it was bad, and we refine the bad parts this time and make it more desirable, more accessible, and more enjoyable. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to take that step. All right, guys, I'm getting close to 3 hours. I think this is my cue. When will you support Fidelity Fix? It looks like AMD have the plugin similar to NVIDIA for Unreal 5. So if that's the case, it will most likely happen with Unreal 5 transition. DLSS 3 and Fidelity. Anuxa, indeed, thank you for the reminder. It's easy to lose track of time here and trying to cover a lot of questions, and time flies. No, Coffee Grinds is not a GM, not support agent. He's not working anything that. He helps us with communication, updates, stuff like that. So very different area. All right, let's see. Do you really think this game is worth sub? That's crazy. This is why I have less than 800 players in the game. So first of all, I don't know where you get the 800 from. We actually have between 1,000 and 2,500, so quite off there. And that is on one server. There's not many server games, MMO games in the world that has those kind of numbers. So that's quite impressive. It's a very living game world we have compared to many other games that have a very down peak where everyone is asleep and then everyone is playing, and there can even be queues at many times. There's nothing in between, and you know which our game is more. So absolutely, and you know most adults want to pay for a service and get a better product than free to play crap, pay to win, and cheaters and crap that constantly tries to do crap to the players. We got way less than that. So yeah, I would say most adult, you know, person that enjoy a true good sandbox game may consider paying a very small fee monthly to support the development and get much more in return every month. But you know, I could be wrong. Let's see what the future tells us, right? But this is what the players want, and we deliver it. And I strongly believe in our community, and I fully agree with that policy and rules and business model, just like Ultima Online for all those years. So we will see, right? And follow it with great excitement. All right, 1,000, 2,500. What other MMO has less? I mean, look at New World and those servers. They have way less than that on their server spread out. That's what I mean. And during downtime, when that region is asleep, you have like 200 online because everyone is asleep. We have one server worldwide, which means when you are asleep, someone else may be awake and playing the game. So that's why we have a much more even in-game access. Yeah, but does New World, they have regional-based servers, right? And so do they have 2,600 all-time at any given time? They didn't last time I was checking. And like I said, their downtime is way less than ours because we have Americans and European in one server. That makes the even way different. All right. Indeed. Let's see. Mr. Dead Meats. I don't know if that's fair, you know. We have a plan, we want to deliver it, we want to give you the best possible game, and you know, we want to deliver something that you feel is worth spending a coffee and a donut once a month to be able to play this game infinitely. You know, I think that should be a fair trade if we deliver what we have set up to do. I mean, 25k players in total spread out in 50, 100 servers doesn't mean, you know, that's quite different from one server with constantly more players in action, right? But yeah, anyway, that's a little bit of a different topic. Let's see if we have anyone streaming. We should be rating today. We have a few ones here. Let me do my usual raid. And you can make the call. Starbucks cheese. It works amazing. I love it so much, so I don't mind subbing now. Thank you very much for the support, but we obviously want to make sure that you feel that you are the best treated sandbox players in the world, and we want to deliver the absolute best sandbox game in the world, and hopefully it should be easy to feel it's worth it. It's fun, it's unique, it's worth it. Therefore, you can support us by, you know, continue our work. That's how it should be, right? Where is my button? here. Okay. One moment, guys. So we have I'm adding a few for you guys. So 1 minute, vote now. And I will make it happen. Yes, sorry, I already done the giveaway today. We are actually on the ending note and you can vote for who we're gonna raid today before I end it. New World only has 30 devs. Holy shit, they have 440 last year. Had they cut down to 30 devs? I guess they're not investing in that game anymore. Or am I wrong? I don't know. I haven't followed them the latest months. But that's surprising if they're down to 30 devs. Their devs should be good to support the game. I mean, we are 40 devs, and obviously, you know, people want us to grow more, add more. You know, it takes time to create complicated system in a sandbox game, MMORPG game. We want to be a little bit more than 40 devs for sure, so we can expand additionally. If I had to cut 10 developers, you know, that's tough. You know, you may maintain things, but create robust new systems will take a lot of time, right? We have a lot of base content and functions that helps us speed up the process, but it still takes time, you know, because we need to do it really good. So we still want to expand. We want to have a few more devs so we can do it even more efficiently. Was the ETA for subscription? No, we don't have an ETA at all. It's planned for when we release on Epic Games platform. And we don't have a date set for that. So first we have a patch now very soon. Then we have the TC, the big TC that starts with testing, and then we release that. And then we deliver Unreal 5, the Epic patch, and release on Epic Game platform. So along with that is the plan, and that's when we reached a milestone where we feel we have done everything we can and promised and deliver that as good as we can, and are ready for a larger amount of player on our server, and are starting marketing and, you know, getting the chicka-boom moving. We have sailing before. No, sailing would be sometime after Epic Game. If the community agrees, that should be one of those bigger features we should focus on earlier rather than later. Where the hell did my poll go? There. Let's see. View the results. Temujin, it is today. All right, all right. The Swedish long old time streamer Temujin from good old Mortal 1. I will start to play with and see how long I can stay into it. I have a hard time staying with one game. That, yeah, of course, that depends completely on what kind of player you are, right? This is a game that grows over time and give you more and more functions, features, and, you know, stuff over time. So it's something that it's common to, you know, come back to the game over the years. We saw that in the first game. Once you are a more top player and you enjoy it, there's a good chance you are along with that journey for as long as we run it, right? Hopefully. Will the specs to play the game change with Unreal 5? No. We will have parts more optimized, so if you don't enable lumens and stuff, fancy stuff, you may see performance improvement in general. But I don't think we are really changing the specs. You will see improvement, but if you start adding those eye candy functions, you will get a cut in performance. That's for sure, depending on the hardware. Wait. All right, let's do the raid, guys. We are hitting the 3-hour mark here. To take interns at the company. In very special cases, it depends on what position, because we're already so limited, right? We don't want to take in interns if we can't really spend any time to, coordinate with them and have value for both sides, right? But if anyone's interested in applying, we always go through them and see if there's something that could work and could fit for both sides. All right, let's raid the Mujin. And you will have a chance to ask your questions next week, as usual. Every Wednesday so far. Let's see, where do we have my... where the hell do I have my... here, okay. Raid channel. Temudin. Okay, guys. Thank you as usual for tuning in my stream. Thank you for all your questions, donations, subscriptions, and all of your support. We greatly appreciate that. And we hope you enjoy your stay in the stream and obviously continue playing our game. We're getting close to the juice, guys. Getting close to the juice. Just gonna deliver this patch very shortly to give you some middle juice before we go to the big guns. All right, let's raid the Mujin and give him some support, guys. Pretty cool Swedish guy that's been streaming Mortal Online on and off over the years, starting from Mortal 1 already. So let's say hello to him and have a good night, everyone, and I will see you soon. All right.
Oh my God!
Elbow in your honor.
Finally!